Round 1 of Superlap for 2022 was at the freshly remonikered Taupo Motorsport Park, just weeks after its acquisition by Tony Gwynn. I'd fiddled the S14 somewhat, investing in 17-inch rims with Nankang AR1 semi-slicks and WinMax brake pads. The usual suspects were joined by a host of new and returning drivers to fill out a much larger grid than in 2021. As the fast group set out for their first stint, here's Brent Hayes' extremely slick K-swapped Integra, followed by Adrian Rivers' S13. Greg Hurst was back, having strapped a turbo to his championship-winning V6 MR2, followed here by Ben van der Werf's Evo. There's Cheryl Curran in her turbo FD RX-7, Brady Wild lobbed in a VF Commodore Super Tourer, adding some spice to the pointy end of the field. Then Glenn Hodges in his rapid but inconsistent rear-engined all-wheel drive turbo V6 K12 Micra. I followed Louise Wall's extremely cool Mazda RX-3 sedan out for stint 1. Here Kerry is remonstrating with officials who insisted on enforcing the wrong set of rules, unfairly excluding some of the street class drivers on a technicality that doesn't apply to Superlap. Bruce Clothier leads the way through turn 1 in his Starlet GT, followed by the BMW E46 Compact of Melvin Plaisir. Mark Greeny was back with his V8 E36. Here's Luke Hunter in his Turbo 4H Starlet GT, followed by Nicole Rivers in the E36 328i and Louise Wall in the RX-3. Mark eventually overtook Bruce, looking to hunt down the next BMW. This was my first outing at Taupo on the S14. I hadn't driven a rear-wheel drive here for 6 or 7 years before this, so I knew I wouldn't be setting the world on fire with my lap times on the Saturday. My mission for today was to learn how to drive the car here so I could come back in the morning and put it into practice, as it were. The competition pads and new semi-slicks made an immediate difference, though Sylvia's gonna Sylvia, and it was fairly easy to make it step out on the off-camber exit of turn 1. For this stint I was taking it fairly easy, staying off the curbs and concentrating on braking markers and tidy lines. Turn 9 is a bit more stressful in a rear-wheel drive with a locked diff. The S14's surprisingly long gearing, and it must be said modest output, required a bit of experimentation. I've grabbed 5th instead of 3rd there, and it wouldn't be the last time. I recorded a 155.9, not amazing, but an improvement on my PB in the Sentra, and a solid basis for further development. With the rules lawyers thoroughly rebuked, the full field was able to head out for the second stint. Track temps were already more than 50 degrees, which would make better lap times elusive. Ashnell Lyle's chaser was now sporting even more wang than last time. The fast group headed out into the heat haze nonetheless. Here's Aaron Fadadal in his Evo 5 RS. Glenn Hodges all kinds of out of shape there at the end of the back straight, with Brent Hay in hot pursuit. Greg was doing his best to make up the 1 second margin that Hodges had established in the first stint. Brian Matchett's HSV GTS was running well and looking sharper than ever, followed by Jason Morris in the Mazda 3 MPS. Mark Greeny leads out the not-so-fast group for stint 2, followed by the other Mazda 3 MPS of Ben Bishop, and Melvin Plaisir giving the BMW Compact a workout through the final turn. Luke Hunter and Bruce Clothier in their Turbo Starlets, and Cheryl Curran in the RX-7. And there's me, trying out some different lines through that final complex. Louise Wall and Nicole Rivers round out the group. While track conditions weren't quite ideal, I knew I'd left a lot of time on the table in stint 1, so I pushed harder, using the curbs and even straddling the ripple strips where I thought I could get away with it. Phil Finlay had a front row seat in his 370Z. I improved my time to a 1:55.1. By the third and final stint of the day, the track was now so hot that this session was more about seat time than lap times, with most competitors looking to return to a cooler track on Sunday morning to make any actual improvements. Ben Goebel rounds out the fast group in his Legacy. Greg Hurst and Brent Hay had run similar times all day, though Hay was running in the unlimited class and so could take advantage of slick tyres, while Hurst elected to stick to semi-slicks for Saturday and run times in unlimited on Sunday instead. I followed Cheryl out for stint 3, now getting pretty used to rotary noises on the dummy grid. Unfortunately, I immediately picked up a puncture and had to retire. I chucked a spare wheel on and tried, with the help of Brody, Kaz and other Superlap GCs, to suss a repair or replacement. That ultimately proved impossible, so the 1:55.1 from stint 2 would be my official time for this meeting, and I'd return on Sunday purely as a spectator. Catch that next time. Thanks for watching.